Hey everyone, welcome to the E2 Effective Elders podcast. E2 is devoted to coaching your elder team to win by providing biblical and practical resources in authentic relationships. E2 wants nothing more than to equip you to move God's kingdom forward in the place you're serving Jesus. Visit us at e2elders.org and please share this good word with others.
Hey, welcome everybody to our E2 podcast, and how grateful we are to CDF Capital for their investment in elders, and they make this podcast possible. Our big welcome to Dr. Jim Estep, co-founder of E2. Jim, how are you today?
Doing great, waiting for Sunday's game.
You know, we're in this podcast series. The NFL season has kicked off, and
yes.
Even though the stadiums are not full of people, there are people who are tuning in. Who's your favorite team there, Bob?
Well, it's got to be, the Bears. So
the Bears, yeah.
The Bears.
How long have you been cheering on the Bears?
Oh, it's got to be since being in college with the great teams in the mid-'80s, and then doing seminary work up in Chicago.
Sure.
Just simply let that get deeper and deeper into my soul. So.
Yep, absolutely. And you know what? For the sake of walking down memory lane, there was a time when the Bears and the Colts, my team, the Colts,
yes,
were in the Super Bowl. Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay, well, I was on a mission trip in India with Dr. Ajay Lal at the time, and Ajay made certain that I got back to the hotel in time for the game. Because India's 10 hours ahead. I was watching that game in the middle of the night, and it was incredible. The hotel was made out of marble. They don't have drywall. And so as we, the people on our mission team, were there and we were cheering on the Colts, our voices echoed. The phone rang in our room at 3 a.m. and the manager said, "If you don't keep quiet, we're kicking you out of the hotel." So it was quite a game. And here's
so who won? Who won?
The Colts won.
My memory gets fuzzy.
Does it really? Well, I'll refresh your memory. So we went down for breakfast the next morning wearing our Colts gear, and literally sitting across the dining room was a husband and wife with the Bears jerseys on. They were in the same hotel in New Delhi, India. And so obviously we all got a big laugh out of that.
Global fandom.
Absolutely, a global fandom. Well, you know what? We've got this book that we put together, an Elders Playbook. And
Absolutely.
In this football series, we're drawing on different people's perspectives about if you're a coach, Jim, what play would you call from the playbook in this season of ministry?
Well, one of the plays, I love all the plays in the playbook, but the one I have found most useful recently is play number 26, which is the minister search.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working with several churches who are either adding to their staffs or replacing people who have left. One church had a minister stay for 55 years. So their elders have never had to replace a person in the pulpit. And unfortunately, he stepped out of the pulpit. "I'll help you in any way I can." And 2 weeks later, he passed away unexpectedly.
Wow.
So the elders literally had no idea even what to do, how to start, no guidance. But we could step in and, for example, share with them play number 26 that outlines 10 steps sequentially what to do when you're starting a minister search.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
It even has an appendices of questions to ask in the interview.
Yes. And too, right now, we, E2, we have partner churches, and a partner church is in a significant relationship with us. 12 of our partner churches are in a search process right now, whether it's for the lead minister, whether it's for a worship minister, whether it's for a discipleship minister, a student minister. One of our churches is looking for a children's minister. So right now, I believe that the leadership pipeline is running low. We don't have a whole lot of people standing on deck ready to go.
And many churches in the past thought, well, we'll just contact a local Bible college. I work for Central Christian College of the Bible. I'm the vice president of academics. So we'll have churches call us and say, put our name on the list. But what they don't realize is there are fewer and fewer people looking at that list.
Right.
And so the old way of recruiting a new minister that was essentially putting a help wanted sign out in the front yard.
Right.
We'll just post something on the Bible college website and see who hits it. Really is being replaced by a more proactive approach of we have to search for the right person, given the direction of our church, the makeup of our church, our community's needs, how the church connects beyond the wall, and how can this person help us take the necessary steps in the next 5 to 10 years? Can they move us to the next level and in the right direction? So they're having to be a little more engaged in that search process. But once again, most people in churches are unfamiliar with what they have to do. So play number 26 provides a great outline with just a few insightful caveats, such as, don't forget, you're also being interviewed. When that candidate shows up, it's not just you interviewing them. They have questions for you. They're making a life change coming to your church. So how can you be better prepared to answer their questions? Or, for example, if this is a replacement, how do you help close off that previous ministry? If it's a retirement, how do you celebrate that to bring that to a close so the new person can start? Or, is it a matter of really developing a succession plan, which I do believe we have a book at E2. Gary, I think you wrote it.
Leadership.
There you go.
One becomes less while another becomes more. Yep.
And once again, the idea of, if I know I'm going to be vacating my ministry position, should we not start a prolonged process of finding the successor, bringing them on board ahead of time so that the transition is as smooth as possible? You see many churches going to this, and when they do, that transition is very successful. The transitions that aren't successful is when the person resigns and there's this chasm and there's a gap and they call the next person to serve, but there's no smooth transition. It's like driving on the road and hitting a bump or a pothole. You go, wait, what was that? And it was not a smooth transition, and that can shake people up in a church. So our goal is, church health, keep the kingdom moving forward, and one of the best ways to do that is to make sure the right minister is in the right church at the right time to take them in the right direction. And that's really what Play 26 is all about.
Right. And why I really appreciate you having written Play number 26. We see the presence of professional ministries that are looking for staffing. There are staffing ministries out there. Well, not all churches have the resources financially to hire them to go looking for a staff. And so,
without naming them, sometimes those staffing services can cost thousands and thousands of dollars.
Correct. And this play gives direction to an elder team as to how they can pursue their search. And, too, we have to remember, Matthew chapter 9, Jesus says in verse 37, pray to the Lord of the harvest to send forth workers, for the fields are white unto harvest. I've been around the block a few times in 40 years of ministry, and I can tell you, there are many times when churches fail to pray asking Jesus to supply the workers. And I'm not just talking about workers who are volunteers in the church. I'm talking about staff. The first thing that we need to do when we need staff is to begin praying and asking Jesus to work in a supernatural way to provide that individual for us, to make our paths to cross. And something else that you made mention of, in the former days, people would indeed call the college, hey, who do you got on the board there, et cetera. We cannot look for people in those old methods, using old methods. And so searches of churches, they need to leverage technology. They need to create a page on their website to where they list the position profile, to where they describe their community, the demographics of their community, where they give a brief history of the church, where a potential candidate can get acquainted with the church and then submit his or her resume technologically, maybe even upload sermon files or whatever the case might be. There need to be technological platforms developed in a church on a website so that a search can be made through technology, which is going to quicken the transmission of information.
Yeah, and especially in just coming from a Bible college perspective, let's say you have a congregation that's elderly, and you go, we're going to contact the Bible college. Well, if you're trying to find a student that's 22 years old who just graduated, and you put them into a position where the average age is 65,
right?
There's just not going to be a lot in common between the minister and the congregation. That's going to be something that's just automatically going to have some friction and eventually resistance and conflict. And so we're trying to avoid the unnecessary, unnatural pairing of people.
Right.
And so,
absolutely.
And so once again, just trying to identify what does the church need, who can take them in a healthy direction, and try to put those factors together. And so a lot of the playbook does talk about the need for prayer to form a team, and that this not be an individual activity, and to rely on such things. You put a website. We talk about creating a portfolio,
right?
That when you finally have someone who's a candidate, they've passed the vetting process, you can send them information about the church, the local schools, because they may have children, about the economy, because the spouse may have to work. So in other words, just all kinds of information that you can provide them that helps them make the choice.
Absolutely.
Because if you provide that and another church doesn't, they have a more favorable disposition toward you.
Right. They have leverage.
Yes.
Yeah. Got it. Well, Jim, thanks for contributing that play in our Elders Playbook. And remember, everybody, that during this season, this series of podcasts from the playbook is on sale. It's discounted on our website. So please visit us at e2elders.org. Blessings to you, Jim. Have a great season.
Go Bears.